Taking a look at Ripley's match coverage in this Chiefpigskin review. This is by Michael Fox, defensive coordinator at Trinity High School in Kentucky. A little bit about Trinity. I know there's a guy named Andrew Coverdale. I don't know if he was offensive coordinator or head coach there, but about probably 20 years ago now, put out there's a PowerPoint floating around of their offense, and it's very, very thorough. So highly successful program for quite a while now. And Coach Fox talks about their defense in particular. Starts off their odd front, their two gap in, split field safeties, which means they're two high press quarters coverage as a base. And it's one of those things where you're like, I thought we were going to talk about Ripley's match coverage, and he goes into, they like pressure. The points per game are great. They're really successful. And he goes into why they supplement their base quarters coverage with one high match coverage. Instead of split field safeties, let's get a post safety in there. And the reasons for that is the man coverage, it creates really tight windows. It pairs with the pressing that they're doing out of their base press quarters. Lets them complement their pressure package by showing that they're going to bring double A gaps and then having those linebackers or other defenders potentially bail out. It has built-in answers against common man beaters. If you're playing just straight, true cover one and somebody runs a shallow, that's can be out-leveraged quite quickly. An offense can do that. But if you are playing ultimately a match concept, you can pass that off. And then they do get 8 guys in the box. So what I like most about Coach Fox's presentation, he's coaching the concept of match coverage and a couple base concepts within that. And that is 4 guys are going to be playing what a lot of coaches refer to as mess. Mess is just you're manning everything except for a shallow route. You're gonna pass off shallow routes so that way you can keep good leverage and ultimately kind of zone those up. The coverage will always have a low hole player. That's typically a linebacker and a high hole player. And something that I really, really like that Coach Fox emphasized, the position doesn't matter. We got to have 4 guys that are playing mess. That's why he's got X's here. One guy's got to work to the high hole. One guy's got to work to the low hole. Now, are those typically going to be certain players? Yeah. But it's the idea we can put anyone in those responsibilities. So they're typically going to disguise and give that too high look. Again, this is a change up for them and an adjustment. So they play with a nickel and a strong safety. The free safety is probably going to be that high hole player most of the time. Sometimes some 3x1 in motions, the strong safety or nickel could end up there. Corners are outside leverage, and right there is an example of that. There's an outside. I don't know for sure if the nickel is the boundary guy or the field guy, and the strong safety is the boundary or field. Free safety, which guy is which per se, but either the nickel or strong safety is outside leverage of his number 2, and then the nickel or strong safety on the other side, outside leverage of his guy. And right now the corner is starting off head up, so that makes it a little bit of a quarters look. And then there you go. There's their 3x1 check. And he goes over a bunch of film examples like everything. Disguising the rotation. They're waiting until the QB's eyes are down. Shows examples of good and bad by his guys. Places where his guys could do some things better than what they are doing on the film. It's not everything ends up perfect on game day. It's the idea the guys understand the concept and they recover through it. Match first, a bunch of specific passing concepts, a flood smash, a snag, double slants, dig shallow, and mesh concept. So what I found most interesting, the dig shallow, that's where I think that's a place where I got to grow as a coach is ultimately living in the quarters world. When somebody goes mesh or shallow, they got multiple underneath routes. We only have, in the quarters world, 3 guys to match those 3 underneath routes. And that's a lot of work. Whereas if you get 4 guys matching those routes, you're probably going to keep better leverage. And ultimately, he's showing, hey, the nickel, man, everything but a shallow. He's got a shallow going. So he's gonna alert his inside linebackers that that's coming, and then he's gonna sit for the final number 2, ultimately to his side. Meanwhile, that shallow goes across. That's gonna make the Mike linebacker or Mac linebacker, whatever he's calling M, is gonna be the low hole player. He's gonna get some help from the other guy who's not got a shallow. The strong safety is going to be carrying that, so you get 2 guys matched up there. Free safety is the high hole. He's going to help on the post, and then the buck he's not the low hole, so he's going to match that number 2 coming across. And then very similar with mesh of how the guys are going to leverage it. Both the strong safety and nickel, they immediately got shallows, so they're going to match the new number 2 that comes to them. The Mike is pushing with that third receiver, and that leaves the buck now as the low hole player, and the free safety on top of everything, making sure the spot and go for a post doesn't happen. And then more film examples, again, concepts within the overall coverage. So a wave alert concept for sniffers / H-backs, a sort concept, which is, to me, it looks like an inside-outside zone against switch routes, bunch formations, answers for motion, empty, and just changing up, rolling from giving a match look back to quarters just to disguise things some more. So that wave concept, ultimately, if they got a sniffer, that strong safety is going to walk up and you're going to present a 4-3 box, more or less. And just where does that number 2 go? How does he relate to the number 3? So that like the low hole player could potentially, I guess, be any of those 3 from my understanding of it. Check the video out to double check. But great idea for leveraging ultimately the running game, but then still having sound coverage behind it. And then the sort concept shows it both against just 2 kind of stacked receivers, and then also bunch. Here the corner's taking the first out, the free safety's taking the first in, and the nickel is manned up on the point guy. So a couple different concepts. Check this video out because it emphasizes coaching concepts that when you put them together make match coverage effective. So that idea that you got outside leverage, and you're funneling to the inside. The inside defenders are the low hole and high hole. They're always going to be there to help, and that's why you're playing outside leverage. The mess versus Meg. So Meg is man everywhere he goes, and there's a couple spots and places where coach says, that's the way you got to play it. Sort versus wave against different formation alignments when they're changing the splits of receivers or moving receivers into the box area. And then just if you want to learn about playing one high match coverage, that's something that I am trying to grow as a coach. That's why I checked out the video. I think Coach Fox does a great job of showing that, and benefits of match versus only playing zone or only man. Again, the tighter windows, but then still having leverage like you would in zone. And just tons of video examples of Rip Liz pattern matching coverage. So check it out on the Chiefpigskin YouTube channel. Touchdown membership, totally worth it in my opinion.
As always, guys, if you have questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Check me out and follow me on Twitter at Coach Klee. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. And if you have anything that maybe requires a longer response, hit me up at coachbrienklee@gmail.com. Thanks as always for tuning in. See you again.